Hello, I'm Michael, and this is Tarot by the Tree. We are in the middle of working our way through the minor arcana, the four suits. Each suit goes from ace to king. We've covered a couple of suits now, and we're working on the pentacles, or as we prefer to call it, the coins. This is the card we're working on today. It's the Nine of Coins. Take a little bit of a recap. The suit of coins, as we work through it, we see that there are lessons for making money. The 2, 3, 4 talk about the different ways of working harder than you can sustain for a short period just to get your foot in the door. The idea of specialization, the idea of taking a job for the purpose of making income and keeping it separate from the other aspects of your lives. Coins are the necessity of finding a means of independence. The place on the tree of life that this card lies on is that of the hermit. It's Yesod on the tree of life. The hermit, his other side, is judgment. The hermit beckons, and at first you think there's just a dim light beckoning only you. And later on, you discover that it's actually the clarion call of a trumpet awakening everybody. We'll describe this card first. A lady stands in a garden fenced with grapevines. She wears a golden gown lined and trimmed in scarlet. Her gown is decorated with flower symbols resembling the classic female symbol. A city and mountains are in the distance. She is flanked on either side by two large trees beyond her walls. A hooded falcon perches on one gloved hand. The other hand rests upon a sephira on an inverted tree of life. We have a number of symbols in this card, and this is, to me, a lifestyle card rather than a single lesson card. This is presenting an ideal and an image, and I think this is especially valuable for women in their youth, girls. This is an archetype. The trees in the background represent the two pillars of severity and mercy. She is in the center. Just the same as her position on the tree of life is Yesod, that is also on the center. That central path is called the path of mildness. She has evolved into that over many years and different incarnations of herself. The grapevines signify plenty and self-sufficiency. Her property now, in her, let's call it retirement, can support her. It can generate income. The falcon is on her arm, and that signifies the control of her animal nature. The symbols on her gown that at first glance look like flowers, when you look under her sleeve, you will see that Pamela Coleman Smith has outlined enough of them, well, a few of them, with black lines in that typical female symbol of a circle with a plus sign underneath it. Who is this woman? I call her the hidden queen. We are in the nines now. We are nearing the end of a cycle. The 10 card is the end of a cycle, and she has stopped at the 9. She's very happy in that place. She stopped at the 9. There's a saying that she could have gone a lot further and done a lot worse, and both of those things are true. She has stopped where she wanted to stop, where her wants are satisfied and her needs are met. This is a very sophisticated self-realization. It is self-sufficiency transformed And it was her self sufficiency and the female traits that allowed her to transform perhaps a cottage and a property into a miniature manor and garden. What might her role or position be? She is established. She hasn't just moved into town. She has a solid reputation. There are a number of people that will say in their youth she was transformative to them. She is an owner. She is indebted to no one. And that in itself is a huge obstacle to overcome. She embodies the female essence. And we have seen that there are many aspects to this. One of them is beauty. And that beauty is one of the hidden powers that has been a little bit subverted by the male tendencies in society right now. Hopefully, it will be reawakened, and it is one of the attributes of females, or at least the female um, attributes and essences that can exist in males and females, but it is sort of the realm of females. She has transformed a modest home into a miniature manor and cultivated gardens. Additionally, she is an example and a role model. She can be a kind of a summoning to a better life path. She can be safety and direction to other girls and women. We call this within your means. And it means finding a place in life that makes you really happy, that's not dependent on keeping up with the Jones or emulating the lifestyles you see on TV. I call the Nine of Coins the hidden queen. She does not appear wealthy, flamboyant, or even powerful at first. And we've seen in the Strength card that ultimate strength requires no bravado or demonstration or threat. But she has worked for many years. She saves and invests in her property and self improvement. She has scaled down her needs and has all she wants. This is a microcosm of relative wealth. Her lifestyle does not get in the way of her joy, her power, or her plans, which are the other suits in the tarot. Why don't we move on to the questions?
Why does the falcon have a hood?
That was actually done in the days of hunting falcons. It just kept them calm and docile. When the hood was removed, it would be done when the pigeon was in flight, and the hawk would then, or the falcon would then take off. This is a symbol of full control of her animal nature. This is not a woman who gets angry or is prone to outbursts of emotion. She is secure on the middle path, the path of mildness. She has great control, and she is a role model and an example to other women.
What does the distant city or castle represent?
It represents that she has not removed herself from society. She's still part of the society. And in fact, she probably worked there in some kind of a role that gained her a measure of respect. She now lives on the outskirts. So that's still accessible to her, but she has, again, her own little microcosm of a world outside of that arena.
Is this lady really a queen?
Not at all. And I think she'd be embarrassed if anybody called her that. There's just a sense of her ability to be between severity and mercy on the path of mildness, the controlled thought, and the ability to transform a modest environment into a lush environment that supplies her needs and wants.
Is she married? Does she have children?
She might and she might not, and that doesn't affect her. She might be a single woman. She might be widowed. She could have children. In the midst of all her other things, plus her years of working up to this position of independence, she has maintained a balance. And part of the balance is almost a selfishness in that she takes care of her own needs and her future, knowing that her stability is part of what the other people around her depend on.
What is her personality like?
Um, Ladylike with only the highest regard for that term. And she is elegant. She's refined. Most of all, she's in control. She will not be provoked. You cannot manipulate her. She will not lose her temper.
What kind of job or occupation might she have had?
There are so many examples, and of course, no one can really know. But I would think that what she did in the past provided her with a kind of respect and trust amongst other people. So her previous actions have spoken to her personality and her own morals.
How is she like the hermit or judgment?
As we mentioned, the hermit and judgment are a glimmer calling people to a higher path. And later on, that glimmer is seen to be an all call to everybody. She can be a glimmer. I imagine that there have been other women of different ages who maybe have been disadvantaged and have maybe become lost in the turmoil of trying to make a life for themselves. This is the woman that provides the example and describes the means for achieving this kind of wealth in the midst of a certain austerity.
You know, a channel of mine is saying, this is who I aspire to. And because I know this is a man, how would this card speak to men?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're speaking of feminine side and masculine side, and we all have both of these in us. If this was a male, he would get a piece of property, and rather than saying, I'm going to build an addition to my house, I want to buy the property next door, he would take advantage of his feminine side, and he would prioritize the kind of beauty that is an indicator of the path towards perfection. It's a permanent thing. So I think a male would not pursue the typical male trends of acquiring and acquisition and would lean on the feminine side of improvement.
It's interesting. When driving around and I see a house that's really stark, immediately I think there isn't a woman living there.
Yeah, the female essence just we are deprived when it's not present, and there are many indications in our society today, and for a long time there's been this kind of an oppression of the female essence, and we all lose when that happens.
It also seems to extend to architecture, where, and I guess it's also a matter of cost efficiency, but the square is easier to build than the arc.
Absolutely, and also with architecture, very often beauty is something done at the end. You build it, you build your box, and at the end you'll add some decorations, and maybe you'll add some awnings or a porch. Beauty becomes something you tack on afterwards rather than start from the ground up with that concept.
When you look at a place like Dubai, certainly they've embraced beauty with
Haven't they? Yeah.
architecture.
Now, we just don't know if it's going to be an enduring beauty or not, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Final thoughts.
This card is an example. She's a role model. This is an aspiration, and it's a subtle warning that more and more isn't the answer. And finding something within your means that's sustainable, you can create a wonderful world without having to aspire to the kind of riches we see around us so often. And thank you for tuning in. See you again soon. And we'll be on the 10 of coins. And tens always represent the end of a cycle. See you then. Bye for now.